25 minutes to half an hour. Yeah, that's where I want my bicycle with me on it right now. The back of the guy's truck. I like cycling, but I don't like working and then have to cycle and then have to work and then cycle, have to work, and then, you know, like if I was just cycling all day, that'd be great, you know. But to work in between, although I'm mostly on the mower today, so it's not so bad. Not so bad. And the last job is fairly close to home. Whoop, gotta put her number. Bertha speed here. Yeah, so I live about a half an hour away from one of the bigger ski hills in Canada. Not the biggest. It's it goes like Whistler, BC, all around there, and then it goes to hello. Yeah, then it goes to like what do you call it? Like what do you call it? Basically the Laurentians in Quebec. It's off the you know, Mont Tremblay area there. So like Mont Tremblay, it's like it's a ski town, right? Kind of like how Mont Sainte Marie. And then Mont Sainte Marie, I don't know where it ranks, but it's probably in the top 10 or so, at least in the top 20 of the biggest hills in Canada. But locally, it's the biggest hill around until you get to Mont Tremblant, which Mont Tremblant is pretty good. But we got 6 ski hills in my area, something like that. The smallest one being Verlage. Pretty crickety there. The biggest one being Mont Sainte Marie, which is basically off the edge of the Gatineau Mountains, Gatineau Hills as they call it. There we go, let's get her back. So I got a cut here, which doesn't look too bad. Ugh. So anyway, what I was getting at was, I was looking at like people's GoPro footage from you know, taking Mont Sainte Marie, like the mountain bike trails up there, and they're pretty intense, some of them. Like I want stuff that just like what they call a fast flow trail, where you just not a lot, you know, a few maybe little jumps, but you know, more something that you're just gonna zip, 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 zip. Nothing too technical, right? To start. Like, yeah, if I was 20 years younger, I could do any of the trails at the, you know, with a little bit of a well set up mountain bike, I could do the trails there, no problem. 20 years ago, absolutely, I could take this thing down those trails, you know, with no back brake, and I'd probably do okay. Just cause. Like, my teenage years were a cross between like Beowulf and being a ninja. Like, it's just, I like athletic wise, I could just do anything. I used to do the rings. Maybe that's why my rotator cuffs are all screwed up now, I don't know. But I used to be able to go upside down on the rings, right? So I'd be in gym, whatever, on the boys' side, and I'd see a couple of cute girls, whatever. I go grab the rings and I go upside down and then pull myself up into like a headstand, kind of on the rings there, and then they'd be like, "Ooh, look at his muscles." Ooh. You know, I was like, yeah. I was a cocky little bastard when I think about it, though. You know, like I was way cockier than I should have been. But I was funny though. An arsehole, but funny. A funny arsehole. So I was a funny ass. That's what it was. Now I'm just an old funny fart ass. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but it's something like that. Something like that. So anyway, yeah, so these trails, I'm looking at them and I'm like, geez, these are pretty decent. You know, like right now, like, it's not that I'm not brave enough to do stuff. It's just I know what I can and can't do. So in other words, I'm stupid still, but not as stupid as I was. You know, stupid is as stupid does, you know what I mean? So I'm just kind of like, okay, work my way up to something like that. You know, and knowing what I know, You know, like, yes, 20-year-old me would take a bike like this down the side of freaking Mount St. Everest just because it'd be funny, right? You know, I jump it, whatever, and if you crash, whatever. But when you crash when you're 20, you heal. Yeah, I mean, you feel it when you get older, but you heal. When you crash when you're 52, you just don't heal, right? And I can't afford to hurt myself. I mean, I'm already, you know, have a hard enough time just trying to maintain doing that, going to work and back. You know what I mean? Like, life is hard enough just doing that, let alone being badly injured. When I used to work in a motorcycle shop, you know, concrete floor, you know, knees down on a concrete floor all the time. And then, geez, why are my knees all shot now? You know what I mean? But back then, you don't think about it, right? Knee pads are for wusses. You know, hearing protections for wusses. And all these guys, my age, I'm like in the better shape of most of them. You know, except for the guys that actually work out or whatever. But like most average guys my age are way, way, way overweight. I'm not saying I'm not overweight at all, but I'm pretty darn close to the 23% biomass, which was considered healthy. I remember we had one of those scales at the place I worked, and I got on it, it was 23, and they said, anything over 23, it means you're obese. Right? I was 23 right on the dot. And this was back when I was 180 pounds. He got on it, and he was 24. It's like, oh, you bastard. It's like, I was like, ha ha. Like, just, it was funny. It was a funny moment anyway. Just like, yeah, just to stick it to somebody. He's like, yeah, you're just outside of it. But long story short, I did look at other bikes, and I have a bicycle fund going on right now. I have many funds going. I got a car fund going on. I've got a, you know, saving up for the winter, because I'm going to have a very hard, difficult winter. It's going to be for a really cool reason, but it's going to be very, very, very hard for me. If you know, like to the point where it's like, this is kind of like my make or break. You know, it's either I pull this off or I become homeless. You know what I mean? It's to that level. It's a gamble, but everything's a gamble anyway. I mean, you could buy a brand new $300 phone, get home, and it doesn't freaking want to work for you. You know what I mean? Like, geez, things like that. You know, so I have lots that I got to deal with, right? But I have to deal with it very strategically. So that's why I can't just throw money at things. Number one, I just don't have the money. And the money I do have, it seems like a lot of money, but just paying my taxes yesterday, okay, kind of like my first time out of the house, or, you know, out of the town in months, and I'm $700 to $800 less. You know what I mean? Like, just bang, one shot, you know? You know, there was, gave my dad 60 for gas. Doesn't want to take it, but I insist. You know, like I always insist about stuff like that, because it's just like, it's, because I understand how much of a pain in the ass it is to drive people around. Nobody wants to do it. And I don't blame them. I don't do it, you know, unless I necessarily have to, you know? So I know what it's like several times to not only be without vehicles, but I also know the burden it puts on my clients. You know, like, it's just, nothing is easy, you know what I mean? And it's like, now people have to tailor their day to you. And the bicycle helps me not to be a burden, but it's labor intensive. You know what I mean? Like, I like it. Again, if this is as far as I was biking all day, I'd be happy with that. You know, like, I don't need to set world records at 52. You know what I mean? And this is what a lot of people, there's somebody walking up there. Maybe their bicycle broke down, I don't know. Not too sure who it could be. I would make better time though if wasn't as much traffic. Just saying. Oh, I know who it is. Oh, geez, y'all way out here. You're all the way out here? Holy smokes.
My brother drove me off to the gas station in Taz. I'm walking home.
Oh. Yeah, keep the flies off. Have a good one. Good for her. Good for her. Yeah. That's a long walk. That's like a 3-hour walk. Three and a half hours probably. Yeah. But I see her, she exercises all the time, eh? So, yeah, you see a lot of people like jog this. There's 2 police officers in my town. I always see them out in the morning, jog. Like, you want to screw up your knees, jog. Yeah, running and jogging. It's one of those things that, yeah, a lot of people really get into it, but boy, you pay the price. You will have completely destroyed knees when you're my age. Very few people pull it off. Like almost every like professional athlete that does like triathlons and stuff like that, they usually end up with knee surgery. And there's always that one guy that, you know, nothing phases him, and he's like, oh, I could do it, no problem. There's always that guy, right? But he's like 1 out of 100 that can do that, or 1 out of 1,000 that can do that. You know, everybody else is going to be getting knee surgery, right? That's why, like with the bike, I want to make sure it's as well set up for me as I can. So how do you take a bike that doesn't really fit you and make it fit you, right? So it's like not easy to do. Not easy to do.